thinking about making the move to Cleveland, Ohio, but you're wondering where you should move to, and maybe some of these cities that you've heard of are either overly populated or you just they're not fitting the bill. Well, in today's video, we're going to look at some of the hidden suburbs that I've done some research on, realizing that they're very sought after here in the Cleveland market when you know these places, but for those that don't live here or may not be from here, they don't really know about these cities. There's not a high search volume for them, even though they're one of the more popular areas and suburbs to live in around town. So I'm gonna bring those to you guys now so that you can have, you can hear them, you can find out about them, and you can do your own research, or make sure to check out my channel. I'm going to have, or already have, some videos on these cities there where you can do a little bit more in-depth research. But of course, again, if any of these spark interest, make sure to reach out. I'll be happy to review them with you and to find what might be the best fit for you. Just shoot me a text or give me a call, and I'll be happy to discuss the real estate side of things with you to make sure it's the right place. But let's jump into the video and let's check out some of these suburbs. Here we go. If you're interested in learning about Cleveland, Ohio, and what it's like to live here, make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so that you can be notified when we upload a new video so that you can stay current on all things Cleveland. My name is Kip Sweeney with Living Cleveland, Ohio, powered by Mancuso Homes, eXp Realty, and we get calls from people just like yourself looking to buy in 9 days or 9 months. Whatever that may be, we're here to make sure that you have a smooth transaction and taking all that guessing work and the nerves and anxiety out of it, keeping you up to date and communicating with yourself to make sure that you know what's going on throughout the entire process. If you want to reach out or if you have any questions, my contact information is in the description box below, so make sure to schedule a call, shoot me a text, an email, or give me a call. Whatever that may be, I'm here to help. However, today we're going to look at a couple hidden suburbs around Cleveland, Ohio, so stay tuned. All right, so first and foremost, the first piece of information you really need to know is that many times people will reference some of these suburbs to either be on the east side or the west side of Cleveland. It's a very big debate. It's something that people are always talking about, whether one side's better than the other. And in my opinion, it seems like there might be a little bit more living and residential side things on the east side, whereas the west side has grown to be a little bit more commercial with their kind of historic downtowns and with a little bit more of the attractions coming up and the businesses being there, maybe a little bit more of the local businesses on that side of town and things like that. So that's kind of the way it seems like it's grown, but let's jump into some of the west side suburbs first and foremost. All right, so we are gonna start with Bay Village, right? Bay Village is on the west side of Cleveland, as we mentioned, and the median home price is about $475,000. It doesn't mean you can't find prices for a little less, but the big thing is that these homes are a little bit more expensive. Along with that, part of the reason for this is because it is on the lake. You can find homes on the lake within Bay Village, which is going to draw these prices up because those do sell for substantially a lot more. However, it is going to be, plus or minus, obviously, just like anything, but you're going to be able to find pretty much all types of homes. 2-1s, 2 beds, 1 bath, or 3 beds, 2 baths, all the way up to, let's say, 6 beds and 5 baths. You're gonna find different sizes, different architectural styles as well, colonial brick, all these types of homes. So you're gonna be able to kind of find what fits for you, as well as there's some newer construction homes that are within the Bay Village area as well. Now, Bay Village is gonna be pretty popular and pretty sought after for just the parks, the amenities. It's got great schools, lower crime. It's going to have Huntington Beach, which is something that brings a lot of people just to go out there and to grill or to be in the park, to run around, run in the lake when it's hot outside. All these different types of things draws people to Bay Village, and people want to live there so they have easy access to that. But along with this, Bay Village really is an easier town to get around. Most of these are, but easy access through Bay Village. You're going to be able to get to the freeways pretty quickly, and you're going to be able to get to where you need to, shopping with nearby cities such as Westlake hosting Cracker Park nearby, or going to Avon Lake, which is also nearby and easy to get to. And we're going to talk about that one here in a minute. But Bay Village really brings a lot of demand, being a smaller area with good schools and low crime, as I mentioned earlier. But because of all of this, and because of that reasoning, things do sell pretty quickly. You really have to be ready to buy when you're looking at Bay Village, because sometimes you have to pull that trigger pretty quickly. You have to really be ready for it and just make sure that you're good to go. So Bay Village is gonna be mostly owner-occupied homes. There isn't a whole ton of rentals. I'm not saying that there aren't, but it's gonna be a much more favorable amount of owners than there is rentals. So this is another thing to keep in mind. Many people do work outside of Bay Village. Bay Village is going to be something where you're going to call your place of work. There's some businesses, but it's going to be a lot of local businesses, which is nice and another draw. With it smaller, a little bit downtown of an area, downtown space with those local businesses and cafes and things to do. But many people that are going to be working in maybe a finance job or a healthcare job or anything of that nature are going to be outside of the city. So it's not going to be anything long. You are near Cleveland, downtown, and you're also near many other areas that have healthcare facilities or have a financial institution that you might be working at. So again, Bay Village is really that family-oriented community atmosphere with festivals around the holidays and things to do at the park and picnics, people really just getting out and about and having that outdoor lifestyle. It's very common through Bay Village, and it's going to be something that people seek because it's near the lake and because of how easy it is to get there. Bay Village kind of has two sides, and one of the sides being a little bit more residential, and it's going to offer easy access to those parks and just a little less traffic, whereas when you get to the other side of it, it's going to be a little busier, but I mean, just like any other city, that's pretty common. So Bay Village is going to really encompass everything, minus maybe your professional jobs. You're going to have some there, but it's not going to be hosting enough to really be for everyone. But again, the nearby cities hosting that shopping or the malls and the entertainment if you need it. However, any outdoor stuff, Bay Village has it, and you are set to go. And with a variety of homes and offerings, it's something that you're going to be able to find whatever you're looking for, as long as it comes to the market. Because people aren't always moving away from Bay Village, unless there's a reason, obviously, just like with anything. But it's typically not as common. So things come and go quickly because, again, high demand, but the lower supply, and just people always keeping their eyes out for when these houses do hit the market and ready to go. They are prepared and on top of it once that stuff comes about. All right, so let's get into the next one. So on to the next one, Rocky River, maybe something you might have heard of. It's a little bit more known than Bay Village, but again, this is going to have a nice historic aspect to it along with some upscale properties. So you have some historical homes, some older homes with some more modern, updated, newer homes as well. It also encompasses some of the lakefront property as well. So the median is going to be around $360,000 with a lot of different offerings. There's, unlike Bay Village, there's going to be some apartments and some townhomes, things that are going to help get you into the Rocky River area, depending on what your budget is like. And then the Rocky River really truly has it all. So you're going to have your shopping, you're going to have your schools, you have lower crime, which is great. You have your neighborhoods. You also are going to have amenities and things to do. Having some parks as well, and also a nice historic downtown area on Old Detroit Road. You really have this place to go to just walk up and down, to visit some local restaurants and cafes, to enjoy the different type of offerings that it has, and some boutique shops. But another thing about Rocky River is that it hosts CYC, the Cuyahoga, the Yacht Club. So I don't know why I'm messing that up. Cuyahoga Yacht Club. And this is going to be something that is for everyone. So if you want to become a member here, you can. Being in Rocky River doesn't solidify you. You have to pay a membership, and you can be obviously outside of Rocky River. But this is where you're going to be able to enjoy hosting maybe a boat. If you like to be on the water, you can keep and dock your boat here. But they also have food. They have a pool that has a cafe right next to it as well for the kids. If it's summertime, to go enjoy that. And they also have differing options as well that you can go and sail. You can go and play at the park. You can go down there for a nice dinner. Whatever it is, the Yacht Club is really a unique offering and something that's very accessible through Rocky River that brings a lot of traffic, but a lot of people that enjoy being on the water and being out and about. It is a nice little day and adventure, something that everyone can really enjoy. So really harping back on the properties, you're gonna find a lot of Tudors, some colonials, as well as some of those lakefront properties, but modern homes as well. So you're gonna have the historical mixed in with the upscale and modern homes, and they're still building more and still bringing more apartments, more townhomes as well. So construction is happening within Rocky River as well. I would say about 80% of the homes in Rocky River are owned, where 20% is rented, and those rentals are usually more of the apartments and townhomes that are there. Not as many of the single family homes are rented out within the Rocky River City within the Rocky River suburb. So very similar to Bay Village, Rocky River is going to be pretty family oriented. A lot of families throughout Rocky River, a lot of kids, all varying different ages, whether this is, first time parents to families of four children. You're gonna find it all here throughout Rocky River, and you're gonna find varying property sizes as well. So if you're looking for a little bit of land, now you're not gonna get anything crazy. An acre would be pretty rough and tough to find in Rocky River, and you're probably not finding that, but maybe anywhere from a quarter to a half acre. Half acre is even gonna start to push it a little bit, but you can find it in certain areas. So now with the job market, Rocky River truly does have a good mix. You can find jobs of all degree throughout Rocky River, but again, some of these might take you outside of the city itself, and it's very close to downtown Cleveland. It's not a bad drive. It's very accessible to get around Rocky River as well and to the freeways, so that's never an issue. You're also going to find some of the traditional neighborhoods, maybe with cul-de-sacs in Rocky River, but also on the grid, where you're going to find them just like Bay Village, where it's just on that grid, and you're going to have some pass-throughs and drive-throughs as well. Now Rocky River does have restaurants and shops and your healthcare. They have some financial industries as well, and really kind of all the jobs that you might think of. Now, it's not going to host maybe the biggest hospital, or it's not going to host the biggest financial institution, but they're going to be positions that you're going to be able to take and still have that professional atmosphere and lifestyle as well, depending on the role that you want and where you are in your professional career. So again, Rocky River is going to be another kind of like an outdoor lifestyle area where they have the parks, they have an ice rink, which is a ton of fun. That's where I played hockey growing up. They're going to have access to the lakefront. They have access obviously to the lake itself through the yacht club. And they also have just everything that you're going to want, from restaurants to locally owned businesses, and also to even some of the chains that you might have in love at home from where you are. Right? So it's not going to be something where you're off the grid at all. It's a tight-knit community once again, and a lot of people know one another, but you're able to also have your space, and you're able to get around and to really enjoy what it has to offer very easily. But it does have traffic. There are going to be a lot of people with different schools. You're going to have school zones, all of that. So it's going to be something to think about as well. So on to our next one, we're going to talk about Fairview Park. So still on the west side, but we're going a little closer to Cleveland, Ohio, to downtown. So we went Bay Village to Rocky River to Fairview Park. Now Fairview Parks are going to be a little different because we aren't going to be bordering the lake anymore. This is going to be a great entry-level city for new homeowners, with one caveat: residential is basically its main focus. So Fairview Park doesn't have a lot of other things that are drawing a lot of money in the city, so taxes are a little higher in Fairview Park than Rocky River. So that's one thing to keep in mind. It's going to be something that you're going to want to look into, of course, when buying a property, but you're going to find more affordable mid-century housing in Fairview Park. There is some new stuff, but a lot of people are, updating these properties, and there's just a couple newer communities, not a whole ton in Fairview, but you will be able to find your traditional neighborhood. You're going to find some with your cul-de-sac and your dead ends, and you're going to be able to have that in a quiet neighborhood, in a quiet scenic area. But at the same time, you're also going to be finding, again, just like I was talking about earlier, things on a grid where you're going to have drive-throughs, and you're going to be able to, get through it pretty easily. You're going to be able to go left or right depending on the direction that you're going, and you're going to have some cars coming through to get to their house or to get through to the other side of Fairview, whatever it may be. Now Fairview offers pretty much all types of homes, whether you want to be on the valley line with the Metro Parks in your backyard, or you want to live on a cul-de-sac or live with a little bit of extra space and a little bit more land. Again, it's not going to be anything crazy. It's going to be very similar to Rocky River. Now Fairview Park is, again, more residential, but it has some shopping. Now these are going to be more of the chains, Targets, well, just one, but Target, or you're going to have Lowe's, Home Depot. You do have O'Malley's, which is a local chocolate shop, and you're going to have your chain restaurants. So you do have like a Chick-fil-A, a Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's, all those type of places, and some convenience stores as well. Now, Fairview Park, again, has great schools, lower crime, and you're also going to be able to access the Metro Parks very easily. This is kind of its plus. You have the Metro Parks that are going to host a lot of space. If you want to go down there, you can go fly fishing in the water, or you can just go and have time to run around, take your dog, go for the hike on the trails. You can ride your bike, whatever it is that you want to do. You guys can go and have a little party down in the Metro Parks. All that is very accessible and easily reached through Fairview Park. One big thing is that Fairview Park is very, very close to the Cleveland Clinic. You would say it is technically Fairview Park. It's a debate, but regardless, it's a bigger hospital and it's a busier hospital. So if this is a job that you have, if you are a doctor and you want to live in Fairview Park, you're going to be 5 minutes away from your job. It's a large hospital, it's busy, and it's going to be a main spot for a lot of things. So you're going to be able to find all different positions within that hospital depending on what your specific niche is as a doctor, or if you're a nurse, you're going to be able to find that. Many travel nurses are going to be there. So Cleveland Clinic is the biggest draw for Fairview. And if you don't know what Cleveland Clinic is, it's probably one of the better hospitals here in the area. And honestly, through the country, it's usually a highly rated hospital. And people really can't say enough about it. You're always going to have good care. Dependent, of course, I would say, no matter the business, no matter how well you're rated, everything's going to always be dependent on that person and your experience yourself and who you come into contact with while you're there. But Fairview Park has a lot to offer with the schooling. With the Cleveland Clinic as a doctor, you're not going to have much of that financial aspect of things. You're not going to see a lot more other positions other than maybe the retail or the restaurant business within the city. And looping back, because I failed to mention this earlier, the median price for homes in Fairview Park is about $280,000. And this is going to land you around a home that maybe 3.2, 3.1, but you're going to be a little closer to your neighbor. You might not have as much land, but you're going to be able to get there and you're going to be able to afford this home, and it's going to be a nice property and it's going to be comfortable, and you're going to be in a good area where you're comfortable, you feel good and you feel safe and you're happy with it. Fairview Park is going to be a little bit more 70-75% ownership with 25-30% rental. And again, those rentals are going to come through mostly apartments and townhomes, but you can find a little bit more homes in the rental area within Fairview Park if that's something that you're looking for. So to summarize, Fairview Park is going to be that small town feel with that big city access. You're able to really get to any city, whether it's going to Rocky River, Bay Village, Avon Lake, whatever it may be, to access some of these restaurants, stores, or amenities, or you're going to be able to hop onto the freeway and get to downtown Cleveland in 15 to 20 minutes. So it's really easy to get everywhere that you want to go, and it's very close to the freeway. It's probably one of the better fits if you sometimes are taking 480 or if you're sometimes taking 90, two different freeways on either side of town. And this is going to be kind of a nice middle ground to get to both spots, depending on what you're doing. Right? So it's a nice fit. It's great for first-time home buyers, and it's also a pretty family-oriented area where you're going to find small children, younger children, as well as retirees within the area and just running around, having fun, and moving around. The last one that I want to talk about on the west side is going to be Avon Lake, and this is going to be the furthest away from downtown Cleveland. Now, Avon Lake is interesting because it's in Lorain County. So all the others were in Cuyahoga County, which is going to host a little bit of a higher tax. So Lorain County is going to be a little less, so you're getting a little bit more value on your home, and you're not going to be paying as much in Avon Lake. Now, Avon Lake is going to be, it's still building up and it's still building. The median sale price is going to be around $360,000, but this is going to be a pretty substantial sized home for this price. You're going to get us some space. Avon Lake, if you want land, is going to be a great place to do that. You're going to find a mix of older homes with newer builds, and things are going to still be under construction. Along with this, you're going to find that a lot of these neighborhoods are kind of your traditional neighborhood with the cul-de-sac and the dead ends, and you have your neighborhood feel there. It's not as much grid-like as some of the other cities are, and you really have anything that you want there. With things still being built up, businesses still coming there, and things that are already established there, you have a good amount of things for both the professional aspect as well as leisurely lifestyle and whatever it may be that you want to do. So quite a bit of homes that are moving quickly because they're either new construction or new construction developments that are happening that you can buy into now, get your plot, pick your layout, and so on. So if that's something that you're interested in, that's going to be the city that you're going to find that in. If you want a new construction home, that's where you're going to find it, or things that are still being built, that's in Avon Lake. Sorry, it's going to host retail, restaurants, businesses like your commercials, but also some commercial chains, but also some of your locally owned businesses. It also does have a Cleveland Clinic as well. Now, not on the same scale as Fairview Park, as we mentioned, but it's also going to be a pretty substantial sized building that offers pretty good positions. I think it's going to be a great place for both young professionals as well as older professionals because you can find a more quiet space, you're going to have a little bit more land, and you're going to be able to utilize the good schools, lower crime if you're starting a family or you already have a family and you're gonna be comfortable with them in that area. Now, it's definitely gonna be more of a drive around type of place. You definitely need your car. There is a small downtown hub space, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily walkable. It's something that you're going to be driving around and going to the place that you want to go and then parking your car and getting out. But it's going to be something that you'll be able to do and to go to and to have these restaurants and these businesses there very nearby. Now, it is easy access to the freeway, which is a huge plus. And it also hosts other jobs like manufacturing, some industrial stuff, and not like giant plants or anything, don't think of it that way, but in-house manufacturing, as well as some other stuff like chiros and PTs, pretty similar to many other cities as well. So again, Avon Lake is going to be a little bit more relaxed, family-oriented, with extra space and land to do things, but also brings parks and outdoor stuff, as well as indoor stuff, trampoline parks and things to do with your children, and also easily accessible mall, not necessarily mall, but outdoor malls, strip malls, places that you're going to be able to get to and shop very easily, but also local businesses as well. There's some history to it, so you will see some historical buildings or some older styled buildings with that architecture. And when it comes to just your everyday life, it's very easy to get around Avon Lake, whether that's getting to the freeway or other aspects, so you're not getting too pent up with traffic. The biggest thing is watching out for the deer and the wildlife, because it is still a place that has construction. It still has a place that has these aspects to it because of the land, because of some of the wooded plots and things for them to be in. So it's something that you want to pay attention to if you do drive, if you're exploring it. Just note that. But it's a comfortable town. It's very easy to access. It's got a small, quaint area in one aspect of it, while you have your commercial aspect in a separate space. And you're just going to be able to basically find whatever it is that you want within Avon Lake and not really have to venture out to a nearby city to get that stuff. Now you can, because you're very quick, very easily, very near Crocker Park and other aspects. So it's something that, you know, if you can't find what you want in Avon Lake, 10-minute drive to Westlake and you're gonna find everything. So it's just something to keep in mind. Yeah, I wanted to include this one because it's quite different than the others in its properties, its plots, and it's still growing, so you're able to kind of find land if you want to build your own home. All right, let's move to the east side of Cleveland. So east side is going to be a little bit more residential in my opinion, but this first city, Chagrin Falls, is really going to be kind of the outlier, because Chagrin Falls is a small and quaint town. It's a small historic village that has high-end housing with a lot of charm. So now the median price here is going to be around like $650,000. So it's a little bit more expensive here, but there's a lot of amenities. You're gonna have a really nice historic downtown that has a beautiful waterfall, trails, a lot of good locally owned businesses, whether that's restaurants or ice cream shops or retail space, whatever it may be. And along with it, you're going to find great schools, safe areas, and tons of festivals and things to do throughout the year in Chagrin Falls. There's always something going on, there's always things to do, and they really, really kind of have a tight-knit community, family-oriented feel. You know, you're gonna have a lot of families here. When it comes to first-time homebuyers, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult. You may not see that as often, but you're gonna see a lot of homeowners as well. Most of the people are going to be owning their property. You really aren't going to find any rentals, maybe just a few townhouses that they have, because it's really going to be all single family, very few residential apartments, nothing like that throughout Chagrin Falls. But the downtown space is really easily walkable and accessible, and it's something that is going to draw a lot of attention. A lot of people come from outside cities into Chagrin Falls because of what it has to offer. Now, with all of this being said, it is very difficult to kind of land a property within Chagrin Falls. You kind of have to be open to maybe not the perfect home, but being open to making the updates that you want for that house as you get in there, but using that to get into the cities, into the area, to the town. Properties come, but they go quickly for the most part. Now they have to be in the right condition, of course, and the right price. They go quickly for their price. Being that expensive, not everyone is always looking in that budget and that range, so they go quickly for the price that they're listed at. You know, so keep that, you know, it's food for thought. In a lot of colonial homes, it's really going to be a comfortable spot, but again, difficult to enter, get into, and depending on your budget, it may not be easily accessible. Now, when it comes to property itself, you're not going to find anything with a ton of land. Again, these homes are going to be a little bit more closer. You can find some that are a little spread out. You just may be a little further from downtown Chagrin. That's all that it has. But Chagrin Falls is very interesting because it does kind of encompass 4 different counties. So you may be able to get in one of the counties where your taxes are a little lower, even though you're spending a little bit more on a property tax, which is nice. So it's just going to be, where does that house land, in which quadrant essentially, and where does that put you? What does that look like? But Chagrin Falls, can't say enough. I just don't think enough people really know about it, and I think it's a smaller town that people need to learn about. You know, even if you don't want to live there, I highly recommend just looking into it, just so that you know what I'm talking about, because I want this to make sense. So it's something to consider, something to think about. Now, a few things to note. Chagrin Falls, again, is going to be smaller. It does have a small commercial hub, but it really doesn't have that much to offer when it comes to jobs. So unless you're gonna into the retail, gallery, restaurant area or business, then it might be, you might not find what you're looking for when it comes to the workplace. And when it comes to driving around, you aren't necessarily the closest to the freeways. You can get there, but it may be a 10 to 15 minute drive before the freeway. So getting to a freeway to get downtown or getting to a freeway to get elsewhere isn't going to be the quickest. So I would say those are the 2 drawbacks of Chagrin Falls, along with the price. But those are things that you're going to want to consider when you're working, and depending on where your job is. And if you like to drive, if you don't like to drive, all that, right? So things that you want to know. So I would say that's the biggest downfall for it. But Chagrin Falls really offers everything else, and I think a lot of the pros outweigh the cons for Chagrin Falls when you're able to get into there. Finally, with all that Chagrin Falls has to offer, you are going to find a little bit more traffic. You're going to find that a lot of people are coming there, so if traffic's not what you want, it may not be the right fit, even if it's in the right budget. There are a lot of people that come, that enjoy it, that like to come from out of the town, park, eat, leave, whatever it may be. But it is kind of a tourist attraction in a sense for locals, because people do like to go there and to explore and to see it and to be a part of it and to enjoy what they have to offer and what they're bringing into town. So it's, again, something that you're gonna wanna think about, but take a look, check out some of the photos online. You can check out my video as well. I've done a vlog tour to show some of the properties that are on the market at the time. And just to give you an idea of what it looks like, it's really a nice spot, very comfortable, very family oriented, very tight-knit community with some commercial stuff on the outskirts and some businesses on the outskirts that might offer some of those positions and jobs that you might already be holding and that might want. Otherwise, you are going to see a drive to downtown or to other areas, maybe Beechwood or other aspects, which could be a 20 to 30 minute drive to have those jobs at some of the bigger institutions. So next up is going to be Pepper Pike. So Pepper Pike is going to be very, very residential. It's going to be, I'm going to toss Hunting Valley into there as well. Pepper Pike and Hunting Valley, very, very residential. But what Pepper Pike offers is some upscale housing with newer and older construction. You're going to see the median price being around $825,000. But you're going to find, if you want an acre of land, if you want half an acre, you're going to be able to come across that. And it's not going to be uncommon. You're going to be able to find an acre plus. You're going to be able to find an acre, 3/4 of an acre, and so on. That's going to be common here in Pepper Pike. It's not something where you're going to be strapped to find that land and that property, but you're going to be able to have that. So you're going to be able to have your privacy and be able to just kind of enjoy that. So it's very residential. So not a whole ton, no one's really coming here to Pepper Pike to see any type of attraction, which leads to a little bit of a higher property tax. However, you're around everything. 10 to 15 minutes and you're going to get everything that you want within Pepper Pike. Pepper Pike has a lot to offer as well, with parks, with just kind of the accessibility. You're not going to obviously find some of that retail, you're not going to find some of those jobs, but we do have neighboring towns very, very close that offer the financial jobs, the healthcare jobs, the retail, whatever else, accounting, anything that you might want. You will be able to find it very, very close to Pepper Pike. So it's kind of nice. Living in Pepper Pike allows you to have a traditional neighborhood, or to have the land that you might want, the privacy that you might want, and to be able to take a short drive to get to your work, to get to the freeway, to get to a restaurant, whatever it is. Pepper Pike really encompasses it all with a quick access to a nearby city. Now, if you want everything within the city, Pepper Pike's not going to be the right fit. And they're going to be a little bit more expensive, so maybe $2,500, $3,000, $3,500 for some of these rentals. So it's going to be something that may not be the best fit if you're looking for a rental, but there are going to be, just in the outskirts of Pepper Pike, some apartments that are going to offer it's more Woodmere, which is a neighboring city, that's going to offer some of those rentals that are going to be some entry level, which is good. If you know Pepper Pike, you may have heard that it was a requirement for 1+ acre of land for each property. So that is why it's very common. Now, sometimes you can find a little less, it might just be under, but you're gonna find land here in Pepper Pike, which is nice. And relating back to Honey Valley, that's gonna be even a higher bit up. So Pepper Pike's gonna have that upscale property, but Honey Valley is on even another level, and it's even smaller. It's going to be even more quaint, more private, and just very upscale, high, large properties, large homes, and so on. So Pepper Pike does fall into the Orange City School District, which is a good school district. So it does offer that for kids. I would say the children, there aren't really new or first-time home buyers in the Pepper Pike area. So you're gonna see a little bit of you're gonna see some younger children, but you might see a little bit older as well. What you're gonna find is it's just a more upscale community, but smaller. It's something where people that are looking for that privacy are really gonna be able to take advantage while being able to be close to everything. With about a 25-minute drive to downtown, you have easy access to the freeways and to get there as well. So it's a pretty nice fit for everyone and anyone kind of wants that lifestyle. I'm not gonna go as in-depth on these, but just as some runner-ups would be Moreland Hills and Gates Mills. So two, again, smaller towns, large properties, very similar to Pepper Pike, but a little further away from amenities. But again, historical charm in some aspects, especially Gates Mills, not as much Moreland Hills, but it's gonna offer just a nice neighborhood with land, privacy, good-sized homes, as well as some easy access to amenities. You're gonna find that Pepper Pike is a little closer and more well-centered for these places, but Gates Mills and Moreland Hills, just on the outskirts of it, just a little further away, offers quite a similar aspect to Pepper Pike. So Gates Mills, is going to offer more of the country living in some areas. You can find some of the cottages and smaller homes, but if you're looking to have a farm, or if you're looking to have horses or anything like that, or farm animals, Gates Mills and even Moreland Hills will allow for that and give you that opportunity to do so. So that's kind of why I wanted to include this, because many of these other places that we've included leaves that out. You wouldn't really be able to encompass that. You wouldn't be able to achieve that in these other cities and suburbs. But Gates Mills, Moreland Hills, those would be two areas where you would be able to do this if that's something that interests you. But again, the entry into these areas are going to be a little bit more expensive. Some of those cottages, smaller cottages, are going to be around the $500,000 price, the median range. So it is a little bit of a barrier to entry in these areas. Along with it, when it comes to jobs and workforce, similar again to Pepper Pike, you don't really have all of it inside the city, but it's nearby other places where you're going to be able to easily access them and get there in 10 to 20 minutes at most. So it's not going to be that bad of a drive. It's not going to be that bad to do, especially if you're able to achieve the lifestyle that you want within that area. Something else to keep in mind, it does have some chains. It's not going to have that much. Again, so shopping, grocery shopping, amenities, and restaurants, you may have to drive a little further for, but it's not that bad. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't think of it necessarily fully as like country living or anything like that. It's just going to offer some bigger property and a little bit more space and a little further out. We're not necessarily in the country here yet. You're not going to see a whole ton of farming or anything like that, but you will see farm animals. There are some farmers markets, some areas. You will be able to find that within these cities. You are going to be able to have that access, which is great, but just kind of wrapping it all up, Gates Mills is going to offer the more, the larger property, the privacy, the opportunity to have farm animals and to have a barn and space like that, while also being able to access nearby cities that offer the restaurants, the businesses, and maybe the grocery shopping that you want within maybe a 10 to 20 minute drive. So there is some, smaller, locally owned places in Gates Mills, so it's not like you have to actually go out of the city to get to these places, but it may not have all the offerings that you would like, similar to in a larger city, right? So just something to keep in mind, because this is an opportunity to maybe live a lifestyle that you want, but it is going to have a little bit of a larger entry, a barrier to entry to get into the town and to get there. But things do sit a little longer here, just to make that to note, just because of the uniqueness and the lifestyle that maybe not everyone is looking for. But at the same time, you will find those properties that move quickly throughout Gates Mills and Moreland Hills as well. All right, so that wraps up this video. I hope you were able to get some information, some good information from some of these areas. And if you want to learn more about anything else, let me know. I'll be happy to expand on them. And again, I'm going to put some more videos out on some of these places, but these were just hidden suburbs that I felt like you needed to know about that maybe if you weren't from Cleveland, you didn't really know about, especially considering the amount of monthly searches wasn't that high for these places. So I wanted to just inform you of them because they are sought after places here in the Cleveland market. So those that live here are looking to move into these places. So you should know that as well, right? So if there's any other information that I missed, if you know about some of these places and I didn't include any information, put it in the comments below so that we can help anyone else that is watching this video and looking and help them be informed. And then of course, reach out, send me a text, give me a call, whatever it may be, if you want to know more or if you'd love to talk more on the real estate side of things. And finally, please do share this video if you think it can help anyone that you know. I would also love to talk to them if that is the case. But on to the next video. I appreciate your time. I know this was a lengthy one, but I hope it helped. Alrighty, goodbye.